Ms. Van Duyne, you are now recognized.
Mr. Duke, I'm perplexed by a lot of your testimony today. You've had a lot of criticism over the small business deduction, so I'm just curious, what do you consider a small business?
I don't have a particular definition of it.
You don't have a definition?
I don't think I've said the word small business deduction, so.
So the 199A.
Sure, but that's pass-throughs. They can be really big. There's no, cap on their size.
Do you think the way that it's being held right now helps small businesses? The 33 million small businesses that we have, the 99.9% of all businesses in the U.S.
Sure.
that are small businesses that are able to take advantage of this, do you think that the 199A actually helps them?
Sure, it gives them a tax cut, increases deficits, increases interest rates, though.
So you're concerned about the deficit. You're concerned about the debt.
For sure.
And as a Democrat, I was really surprised as a Democrat witness that some of the ideas that you held, like we should be concerned about the debt. And we should be concerned about how much of that's owned by China. I'm curious, as a volunteer on the Biden-Harris transition team, and as the person who was part of the Biden administration's Build Back Better and American Rescue Plan, as the White House National Economic Council, right? You were the senior policy advisor to the White House on those two bills. Were you concerned at all about the trillions of dollars of debt that they added, the trillions of dollars of debt that China may potentially own, and the benefit that China directly got as a result of those bills? I'm assuming you were advocating against that, because if you don't want additional debt, God forbid, we have trillions of dollars that are going out the door for Green New Deal programs that are benefiting China. Am I correct?
The macroeconomic context matters a lot. Inflation is high.
Oh, wait.
Unemployment.
So the inflation that by adding to the debt, the 20% inflation that we got over the last 4 years, I'm assuming that you are advocating against all of those tax increases.
Every country in the world experienced those
the
same
20% that we got in inflation.
Not as a result.
I'm assuming you were against those.
Justin Trudeau is facing that problem.
I do not want to compare the U.S. to Justin Trudeau. There's a reason why that man has quit his job.
Okay, but inflation was a global supply chain phenomenon that affected every country.
So supply chain, you were also, if I am correct, you were the point person on the supply chain data during the infant formula crisis of 2022.
Yes.
Okay, so we all saw how that went. I want to make sure that that we are appreciating the opportunity right now to be able to kind of correct some of the views that we're seeing, the misinformed views of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. You were saying that the rich experience getting richer, the poor experience getting poorer. However, in 2024, about 1 out of 180 American taxpayers will make $1 million or more. It's about 5%. So based on the government's forecast, the government's own forecast on this, those earning $1 million or more in 2024 will pay an average of about $776,800 in federal income taxes, which is 475 times as much as the average American taxpayer who's making between $50,000 and $100,000. The top 1% will pay an average of 31.5% this year, compared with 10 to 12% of the middle class and about 0% at the bottom. And the rates near the bottom can be negative because of the refundable tax credits. So according to the Federal Reserve, low and middle income Americans received the largest increase in wealth during 2018 and 2019. Low income families saw their net worth increase by 37%, while middle income families' net worth increased by 40%. In the 2 years after TCJA, more than 6.6 million people were lifted out of poverty, dropping the poverty rate to 10.5%, the lowest level in U.S. history. And yet we're somehow arguing that that's the TCJA did nothing for the lower class. It blows my mind that we can even say that. Ms. Silver, I want to thank you very much for your testimony. You talked about how much you were able to reinvest in your businesses after TCJA was implemented, and that is great to hear. Can you talk a little bit about what the cost would be if your business, if Congress did not renew the President Trump's tax cuts?
It's going to result in less investment in our equipment, less investment in our people, less investment overall. It would be very difficult to stay competitive.
Okay.
Grow,
so all of the people that you pay would possibly lose their jobs or get paid less?
Potentially, yeah.
Or would actually your job and your investments would shrink?
Absolutely.
It's a real life example right there. Mr. Chairman, I asked to submit a letter from the Wine and Spirit Wholesalers of America expressing support for the extension of the small business credit into record.
Without objection.
We hear the partisan pundits claim that the tax cuts were just too big for corporations. But this is just not true. As part of my work on the Main Street tax team, we were able to get out of DC and we talked to real business owners. We heard about the successes from policies such as the small business deduction in Section 199A, which created over $66 billion in tax savings for Main Street businesses. One of the businesses that I met with in North Texas was Republican National and Distributing Company, where I held a roundtable with over 25 small businesses, including roofing companies, community banks, local banks, and realtors. These are the businesses across the U.S. who are benefiting from this, and this is why Congress must act. Thank you very much, and I yield.